Welcome to Taylor's Hill. Taylor's Hill is a suburb of Melbourne, 22 kilometres northwest of Melbourne CBD. The local government is Melton City. The population as of the 2016 census was 14,921. Postcode 3037. Surrounding suburbs: Hillside, Taylors Lake, Sydenham, Caroline Springs, Burnside, Delahaye, Kings Park. Now for some statistics from the Australian Bureau of Statistics. Families 3,887. Average children per family with children 2.1. There are 4,375 private dwellings. Average people per household 3.5. Median weekly household income 1,919. Median monthly mortgage repayments 2,000. Median weekly rent 369. Average motor vehicles per dwelling 2.2. Median age 32. Married people 62.9% compared to the Victorian average of 48.4% and Australian average of 48.1%. Separated 2.6% compared to the Victorian average of 3% and Australian average of 3.2%. Now for education, the highest level of education, bachelor degree level and above, 20.9% compared to the Victorian average of 24.3% and Australian average of 22%. Year 12, 22.5% compared to the Victorian average of 15.9% and Australian average of 15.7%. Now, ancestry. Australian, 13.2% compared to the Victorian average of 21.1% and Australian average of 23.3%. English, 9.9% compared to Victoria of 22.6% and Australia 25%. Maltese, 8% compared to the Victorian average of 0.9% and Australian average of 0.6%. Now, country of birth. Australia, 61.4% compared to the Victorian average of 64.9% and Australian average of 66.7%. Other top responses: India, 5.5% compared to Victoria 2.9% and Australia 1.9%. Philippines, 2.7% compared to Victorian average of 0.9% and Australian average of 1%. Now, country of birth of parents. So both parents born overseas, 61%, which is a lot higher than the average of Victoria, which is 38.5%, and Australian average of 34.4%. Now, if we go down to religious affiliation, Catholic, 37.8% compared to the Victorian average of 23.2% and Australian average of 22.6%. So more Catholics here than average. Now, language other than English, top responses are Macedonian, 4.9% compared to the Victorian average of 0.5% and Australian average of 0.3%. Vietnamese, 4.1% compared to Victorian average of 1.7% and Australian average of 1.2%. Employment, working full-time, 60%, a little bit over than the average of Victoria, which is 57%, and Australian average of 57.7%. Unemployed, 6.6%, which is exactly the same as the Victorian average of 6.6%, and the Australian average is 6.9%. Now, the number of bedrooms of houses. 1 bedroom, 0.4% compared to the Victorian average of 5.1% and Australian average of 5%. 2 bedrooms, 4.6% compared to Victorian average of 19.3% and Australian average of 18.9%. 3 bedrooms, 27.8% compared to Victorian average of 44% and Australian average of 41.1%. 4 or more bedrooms, it's quite high, 64.7% compared to the Victorian average of 28.8% and Australian average of 32.2%. Now, those who own the houses outright, 22.2% compared to Victorian average of 32.3 and Australian average of 31%. Those who own with a mortgage, 63.5 compared to Victorian average of 35.3 and Australian average of 34.5. Those who are renting, 10.2% compared to Victorian average of 28.7 and Australian average of 30.9%. Now the weekly rent here is a bit higher than the average because it's 369 per week compared to Victorian average of 325 and Australian average of 335. The mortgage repayments is 2,000. Compare that to the Victorian average of 1728 and Australian average of 1755. Now, Taylor's Hill is located strategically close to a lot of institutions and establishments. For example, it's close to schools, it's close to nearby suburbs which have facilities and shopping centres. So the surrounding suburbs, for example, are Delahaye, Caroline Springs, Burnside Heights. So there's a lot of good facilities in other suburbs in the surrounding area. So it's really convenient if you wanna, bring up your family or bring up your kids. This is probably one of the good areas to establish your homes. As you can see before, most houses here are 4 bedrooms. So you got options here to actually to grow your family if you have 3 or 4 kids, for example. One thing I should say is that it's not very close to the public transport. For example, the train station. The closest train station is probably Watergardens station and also Deer Park. But Deer Park is normally for V-Line or regional trains. There is also the Caroline Springs railway station, but I think it is also V-Line or regional trains. And there are also buses. So you can see there's a bus there. So I saw a few bus stops when I was walking around the area. So there is also a bus option if you wanna, if you wanna go or take the bus. So it's not too bad in terms of public transport here. Alright guys, I think that's it. If you have any suggestions, recommendations or places that you want me to take footage of, just let me know in the comment or contact me and enjoy the rest of the video.